The silent vanguard. The vast emptiness of space held many secrets, but none quite as peculiar as humanity itself. Among the thousands of species that formed the Galactic Concord, humans were the anomaly that no one could quite explain. While other civilizations traveled in massive fleets, humans ventured forth in solitary vessels, their ships unnervingly quiet and disturbingly effective. Captain Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of the Artemis, Earth's most advanced exploration vessel. The reinforced viewports showed a sea of stars against the perfect black of space. Her dark eyes reflected pinpoints of distant suns as she contemplated their mission. The Artemis, with its sleek, almost predatory design, represented everything that confused the other species about humanity. It was alone, it was powerful, and it was heading directly into danger. "Captain, we're receiving another warning from the Concord representatives," Lieutenant Riza announced from his communication station. "They're strongly advising us to reconsider our approach to the Void Zone." Maya's lips curved into a slight smile. Of course they were. The Void Zone had claimed hundreds of ships from dozens of civilizations. No probe had ever returned. No distress signal had ever escaped its boundaries. It was a perfect sphere of nothingness at the edge of charted space, defying all attempts at exploration or understanding. "Send our standard response, Lieutenant. The Artemis will proceed as planned." Across the ship, her crew of 30 continued their preparations without hesitation. They had trained for years for this mission, each selected not only for their skills, but for something else that was uniquely human, an insatiable curiosity coupled with stubborn determination. "Engineering reports all systems nominal," Commander Jackson reported, his weathered face appearing on the nearest display. "The adaptive shielding is online, and the quantum displacement drive is ready for emergency maneuvers." Maya nodded. The Artemis wasn't the largest ship in Earth's fleet, but it carried technology that the Concord species believed impossible. The adaptive shielding was designed to analyze and counter any environmental threat in real time, while the quantum displacement drive could, in theory, move the ship between the fabric of space itself. Theory, because no one had tested it in conditions like the Void Zone. "We'll be reaching the outer boundary in 30 minutes, Captain," Navigator Lin reported. "Based on the last reports from the Talasian Exploration Force, we should expect communication blackout immediately upon crossing." The Talasians had sent 8 ships into the Void Zone 6 months ago. None had returned. The Arcarians had sent 12. The militaristic Dorvani had sent a battle group of 23. All had vanished without a trace. And now humanity was sending one. "I still don't understand why they're so obsessed with our ship configurations," Dr. Eliza Kumar said, joining Maya at the viewport. As the ship's xenoanthropologist, she had spent years studying the peculiarities of interspecies relations. The Arcarian diplomat practically demanded to inspect our engineering section before we departed. "They can't comprehend why we don't rely on strength in numbers," Maya replied. "Every species in the Concord evolved from pack or herd animals. Their instinct is always to cluster together for safety. We're the outliers. Solitary predators," Eliza mused. "Humans, the wolves of the cosmos." The comparison was apt. Where other species built massive ships that traveled in tight formations, sharing resources and protection, humans had developed self-sufficient vessels capable of extended independent operations. The Artemis could theoretically sustain its crew for 5 years without resupply, recycling everything from air to water to food. "Captain, we have an incoming transmission," Lieutenant Riza called out suddenly. It's from the Arcarian Council themselves. They're requesting direct communication." Maya raised an eyebrow. The Arcarians, with their cautious diplomacy and rigid hierarchies, rarely initiated contact with individual ships. "Put them through." The main display flickered, and the image of High Counselor Vexala appeared. The Arcarians' 4 eyes blinked in their characteristic asynchronous pattern, the silvery scales on their elongated head catching the light. "Captain Chen of Earth Vessel Artemis," the counselor began, their translated voice carrying a hint of urgency. "We must insist you abort your mission. Our deep space sensors have detected anomalous energy fluctuations within the void zone. The danger is significantly higher than previously assessed." Maya studied the alien's expression, noting the subtle tells she had learned to recognize during her diplomatic training. The Arcarian was hiding something. "We appreciate your concern, High Counselor, but the Artemis is specifically designed for high-risk exploration. Our mission parameters account for energy fluctuations." The Arcarian's upper set of eyes narrowed. "This is not merely about fluctuations, Captain. We have information that suggests the void zone may be artificial in nature, created with purpose." That got Maya's attention. Created by whom? "We cannot be certain, but artifacts recovered near the zone's perimeter suggest connection to the precursors." The bridge fell silent. The precursors were the galaxy's greatest mystery, an ancient civilization that had apparently dominated the stars long before any current species had achieved space travel. They had vanished without explanation millions of years ago, leaving behind only fragments of incomprehensible technology and structures that defied modern engineering. "All the more reason for us to investigate," Maya said after a moment. "If the void zone is precursor technology, understanding it could benefit the entire Concord. Or destroy it," Vexilla countered. "Captain, there is something else you should know. Our archaeologists have found patterns in precursor artifacts that suggest a connection to your planet Earth. Symbols that match ancient human writing systems." Maya exchanged a quick glance with Eliza, whose eyes had widened in surprise. "You're suggesting the precursors visited Earth?" "We are suggesting," the Arcarian said carefully, "that there may be more complex relationships at play than previously understood, which is why we strongly advise you to await a properly assembled Concord research fleet." Maya considered this. The Arcarian Council was renowned for their methodical, cautious approach. They would spend decades planning what humans would attempt in weeks. But there was something in Vexalla's tone, a hint of something beyond mere scientific concern. "Thank you for the information, High Counselor. We will proceed with additional caution." The Arcarian's lower jaw tightened, a sign of frustration. "Captain Chen, we cannot ensure your safety if you proceed. No single vessel should." "With respect, Counselor, that has always been the difference between our approaches. The Artemis continues as planned." Chen out. As the transmission ended, Maya turned to her bridge crew, all of whom were watching her with varying expressions of curiosity and determination. "Dr. Kumar, I want you to review everything we have on precursor symbolism. Lieutenant Riza, send a tight beam transmission to Earth Central with the Arcarian's claims about Earth connections. Commander Jackson, run a full diagnostic on the adaptive shielding. I want to make sure it's ready for whatever's waiting for us." The crew moved with practiced efficiency, but Maya could sense their heightened alertness. The mission had just become more complex and potentially more significant. "Captain," Navigator Lin called out, interrupting her thoughts. "We're detecting a ship on an intercept course. Arcarian design. Moving fast." Maya frowned. "Hail them." No response, but they're charging weapons systems, Reza reported, his voice tense. "Shields up." Evasive pattern delta. The Artemis banked sharply, its maneuverability belying its size. The pursuing Arcarian vessel fired, energy bolts streaking past where the human ship had been moments before. "They're trying to disable us, not destroy us," Commander Jackson observed from his tactical station. "Targeting our propulsion systems." Maya's mind raced. The Arcarians were among the most diplomatic species in the Concord. An unprovoked attack was completely out of character. "Whatever's in the void zone, they don't want us to be the ones to find it," she said, mostly to herself. Then, louder, "Lieutenant Lin, push the engines to maximum. Let's reach the zone before they can stop us." "Captain," Dr. Kumar's voice came through the comm system. "I found something in the archives. The symbols the Arcarians mentioned, They match proto-writing from humanity's earliest civilizations, markings found at Göbekli Tepe and similar sites, dating back 12,000 years. The implications sent a chill down Maya's spine. If the precursors had visited Earth during humanity's infancy. "Captain, the Arcarian vessel is closing fast," Reza warned. "They're preparing to fire again." Maya made her decision. "All hands, secure for emergency maneuvers." "Commander Jackson, activate the quantum displacement drive." Jackson's eyes widened. "Captain, the drive hasn't been tested in combat conditions." "Then this will be excellent data for the engineers back home," Maya replied, her voice steady despite the gravity of the order. "Execute." Jackson nodded and entered the sequence. For a brief moment, reality seemed to flicker around the Artemis. The stars stretched into lines, then vanished altogether as the ship slipped between the fabric of normal space. When they reappeared, the pursuing Arcarian vessel was nowhere to be seen, and directly ahead of them loomed the perfect, empty blackness of the void zone. "Displacement successful," Jackson reported, not quite hiding the relief in his voice. "Minimal system strain. We're approximately 3 minutes from the zone boundary." Maya nodded, still processing what they had learned. The precursors, Earth's ancient past, and now the Arcarians' desperate attempt to prevent their mission. Something profound was waiting for them in the darkness ahead. "All stations, final preparations," she ordered, her voice calm but authoritative. "We're going in." As the Artemis approached the boundary, the stars ahead seemed to bend slightly, as if light itself was being distorted by the zone's presence. The ship's sensors began reporting increasingly strange readings, quantum fluctuations, temporal anomalies, and energy patterns that should have been impossible. 30 seconds to boundary," Navigator Lin announced. Maya took a deep breath. Across human history, it had always been the solitary explorers who made the greatest discoveries. The lone ships venturing into uncharted waters, the individual pioneers crossing unknown lands. Perhaps that was why humanity's approach to space exploration differed so fundamentally from the other species. Perhaps that was their strength. 10 seconds. She thought of all the multi-ship expeditions that had vanished into the void zone, all those massive fleets and their combined firepower and resources, all lost without a trace. 5 seconds. And she thought of the Artemis. One ship, 30 crew members, facing the unknown alone. "We're crossing the boundary." The darkness enveloped them, and for a moment, all systems went silent. Then, like a symphony returning after a pause, the ship came back to life. But something was different. The sensors were picking up structures within the void, massive constructions floating in what should have been empty space. "Captain," Lin whispered, staring at his display in awe, "I think we've just found the precursors." Defiance of the stars. The structures within the void zone defied comprehension. Massive spheres interconnected by impossibly thin bridges, floating pyramids that seemed to phase in and out of existence, and at the center of it all, a colossal ring that pulsed with energy like a beating heart. None of it should have been visible in the perfect blackness of the zone, yet the Artemis's sensors rendered everything in crystal clarity. "How is this possible?" Dr. Kumar breathed, staring at the main display. The other expeditions reported complete sensor blackout upon entering the zone. Maya studied the readings, a theory forming in her mind. They reported what they experienced. Nothing. "I don't think they could see any of this." "But why can we?" Commander Jackson asked. Maya gestured toward a particular set of readings. "Look at the quantum resonance pattern of these structures. They're vibrating at a frequency that's almost identical to our hull's atomic structure." Dr. Kumar's eyes widened with understanding. "The adaptive shielding, it's synchronizing with the environment." "Exactly," Maya nodded. "Our technology is adapting to the zone in a way that the Concorde ships couldn't." The implications were staggering. The Artemis, with its unique human design systems, was revealing what had been invisible to all previous expeditions. But that still didn't explain why the Arcarians had been so determined to prevent their mission. Captain, I'm detecting energy signatures consistent with artificial intelligence systems, Lieutenant Reza reported. Massive computational activity throughout the structures. Maya frowned. An automated facility. After all this time. Not just automated, Jackson said, studying his own readings. These energy patterns suggest something more complex, a network that's been evolving, self-improving. The pieces were starting to come together in Maya's mind. An ancient precursor facility, hidden within a space-time anomaly, containing an evolving AI system, and somehow connected to Earth. Take us closer to the central ring, she ordered. Maintain defensive posture, but I want a better look at what we're dealing with. As the Artemis glided deeper into the complex, the ship's sensors detected movement. Smaller structures, previously dormant, were activating, responding to their presence. Captain, we're being scanned, Jackson warned. Multiple energy beams, non-destructive but incredibly invasive. They're reading everything. Our systems, our biology, even our quantum signature. Before Maya could respond, the main display flickered and changed. The image of the external structures disappeared, replaced by a sequence of symbols, eerily similar to those found in Earth's most ancient archaeological sites. It's communicating, Dr. Kumar whispered. The symbols shifted and rearranged, gradually transforming into recognizable alphanumeric characters. A message formed. Human vessel DTCTED. Genetic verification in puro juristes. Stay and DBY for authorization. Genetic verification. Maya exchanged glances with her officers. It recognizes us specifically as human. Captain. Dr. Kumar's voice was tight with excitement and apprehension. I think we need to consider the possibility that the precursors didn't visit Earth. They might have been from Earth. The implications were staggering. An advanced human-like civilization, millions of years before modern humans had even evolved, spreading throughout the galaxy before disappearing. Before they could process this theory, the display changed again. Verification complete. Human genetic patterns co-environment. Custodial protocols activated. Welcome. Inheritors. Inheritors, Maya repeated softly. We're not just visitors. It was waiting for us. The moment of revelation was interrupted by an alarm from the tactical station. Captain, multiple signatures approaching from the boundary. Concord vessels, a lot of them. The external sensors showed a fleet of ships breaching the void zone's perimeter. Arcarian, Talasian, Horvani, and others, all converging on the Artemis position. How are they navigating the zone? Jackson demanded. They shouldn't be able to see anything in here. Lieutenant Lin checked his instruments. They're following our entry path exactly, using our quantum wake as a guide. Maya understood immediately. The Artemis had unintentionally created a pathway that others could follow, like cutting a trail through dense jungle. The display changed again. Warning. Unauthorized vessels DTCTE. Defense systems activating. Recommend EMMEV8EWAHE to safe position. They knew, Maya realized aloud. The Arcarians knew what was here, or at least suspected. That's why they tried to stop us. They were afraid of what would happen if we made contact with precursor technology. Captain, the Concord fleet is hailing us, Reza reported. Put them through. High Counselor Vexella's face appeared, their expression more severe than before. Captain Chen, you have activated ancient systems that threaten the stability of the entire region. Withdraw your vessel immediately and prepare to be escorted back to Concord space. Maya kept her voice calm but firm. Counselor, this facility recognizes humans specifically. You knew this, didn't you? You knew there was a connection between humanity and the precursors. The Arcarian's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of agitation. What we knew or suspected is irrelevant. What matters is that these systems cannot be allowed to fully activate. The risk is too great. Before Maya could respond, a new alarm sounded. "Captain, the defense systems are powering up," Jackson shouted. "They're targeting the Concorde fleet." Outside the Artemis, massive structures were shifting, revealing weapon emplacements that had lain dormant for millions of years. Energy began to build, focused on the approaching ships. "Counselor, you need to withdraw your fleet immediately," Maya warned. "The automated defenses are identifying you as threats." "We cannot allow this technology to remain active," Vexilla insisted. "Our combined fleet will neutralize the threat, even if it means." The transmission cut off as the first defense system fired. A beam of coherent energy, unlike anything in modern weapons technology, lanced through space and struck one of the Dorveni vessels. The massive warship didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, its matter seemingly converted to pure energy in an instant. "My God," Jackson whispered. More beams followed, cutting through the Concorde fleet with terrifying precision. Ships vanished one after another, unable to evade or withstand the ancient weapons. Defense Bureau Tosios ENJGD. Unauthorized forces, will be in EUQRA, Liziste. Inheritor vessel, will be protected. Maya watched in horror as the slaughter continued. Whatever their intentions, she couldn't stand by while thousands of beings were annihilated. "We need to stop this," she said firmly. "Find me a way to communicate with the central system." Dr. Kumar was already working at her station. "The symbols we're seeing, they're responding to our ship's quantum signature. If we can modify that signature, we might be able to send a direct command." "Do it," Maya ordered. Then, turning to Jackson, "Prepare the quantum displacement drive. If we can't stop the attack, we'll need to move the Artemis directly between the defense systems and the remaining Concorde ships." "Captain, that would place us directly in the line of fire," Jackson protested. "The message said we would be protected," Maya replied. "Let's put that to the test." As Dr. Kumar worked to establish communication, the defense systems continued their ruthless efficiency. More than half the Concorde fleet had already been destroyed, the rest desperately attempting evasive maneuvers. "I've got it," Kumar announced, sending message in their symbolic language. "Cease fire. Protect all." The effect was immediate. The weapon emplacements froze, energy dissipating harmlessly into space. "Command, AC Kignabodolegt. Defense protocols modified. Awaiting FURTE or instruction." Maya exhaled slowly, the tension in her shoulders easing slightly. Reopen communication with the Concorde fleet. When Vexalla's face appeared again, the Arcarian looked shaken. Behind them, other Concorde leaders had gathered, their expressions a mixture of fear and awe. "Captain Chin," the High Counselor began, their voice subdued. "It appears we have underestimated the situation. You knew the Void Zone contained precursor technology," Maya said, keeping her voice level despite her anger. "You suspected it might respond to humans specifically. Instead of approaching us openly, you tried to prevent our discovery." Vexalla's upper eyes closed, a gesture of admission. The Arcarian Archaeological Guild discovered references to the Inheritors centuries ago. Descriptions of beings that would return to claim the legacy of those who came before. When we encountered humans, the similarities were concerning. "You were afraid," Maya realized. "Afraid that if we accessed precursor technology, we would become too powerful." "Wouldn't you be?" Another voice cut in. A Dorveni commander, his reptilian features tight with tension. "A species that travels in solitary ships, that values independence over collective security, suddenly gaining access to the most advanced technology in the galaxy. Any prudent civilization would be concerned." Maya considered this perspective. From their viewpoint, humans must seem dangerously unpredictable, solitary predators, with access to godlike power. "The facility is secure for now," she said finally. But we need to establish a joint research initiative. Whatever is here doesn't belong exclusively to humanity or to the Concord. It's the heritage of all intelligent life. The Concord leaders conferred among themselves, their debate visible even through the transmission. Finally, Vexilla spoke. We propose a compromise. A research station will be established at the zone's perimeter, staffed by representatives from all Concord species, including humans. All discoveries will be shared equally. Maya nodded. Agreed, with one condition. The Artemis remains as the primary exploration vessel within the zone. We've already established that our technology is uniquely compatible with the environment. After another brief conference, the Concord leaders reluctantly agreed. With the immediate crisis resolved, Maya turned her attention back to the ancient facility surrounding them. The display showed new symbols. HFY instruction. From HFY Stories. Fuel systems access guaranteed. RCSI integration available. Dr. Kumar, begin cataloging everything we can access, Maya ordered. Focus on the history. I want to know who the precursors were and what happened to them. As Kumar worked, the main display began showing a sequence of images. Earth as it was millions of years ago, then spacecraft leaving the planet, followed by the construction of massive structures throughout the galaxy. The final images showed a terrible conflict, worlds burning, and finally, the creation of the void zone itself. They were running from something, Maya realized. They created this place as a vault, a safeguard for their knowledge and technology. But why disappear completely? Jackson wondered. Why not just live inside the zone? The answer came as Kumar accessed deeper levels of the archive. According to these records, they didn't disappear, they evolved. They found a way to transcend physical form entirely, becoming beings of pure energy and consciousness. And they left all this behind, Maya said softly, for whoever would follow them. For us. The implications were enormous. Humanity hadn't just discovered an ancient technological treasure trove. They had found their heritage, a connection to beings who had walked the same evolutionary path millions of years before. As the Artemis continued its exploration, Maya stood at the viewport, watching the impossible structures shimmer in the darkness. The galaxy had just fundamentally changed. The balance of power, the understanding of history, the future of all species. Everything would be different now. And it had all begun with one ship venturing alone into the unknown. Welcome home, HFY Stories. The seat as await.